All right, so here I am in Ohio, about to take off. This is Thea. There she is. She's a beaut. I just got lessons on how to do everything from beeping a really loud air horn to putting on the lights and the air. I'm on video. Enjoy. And I'm nervous. I'm not gonna kid you. I'm nervous. Here's the back end. There she is in all her glory. Hey, I'm back. It's Shannon Elhart here, and I wanted to do a video about how to go shopping for a school bus. A little different than hitting up Target, right? So I will be honest with you, this drove me crazy. I really wanted to get the right bus. So I think because I was so particular, my advice will help you. So, first of all, I'm going to share the things that I feel you need to strongly consider, and then some things that helped me, including a Google Doc or actually a spreadsheet that will help you keep track of all the buses you look at and the information you get. Because I hate to tell you, but there were times that I'm like, okay, this is the bus. I remember one was number 42. And then I went to call and talk about an offer, and it had been sold like, you know, 4 hours before. So I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. So, yeah, there was another one. It was ended up being a bad engine. So it just really was kind of a headache. So I'm hoping I can alleviate that for you. So, first of all, you need to decide what size bus you want. And you might know, like you might say, I want a short bus, I want one with a handicap accessible door or not. But you really need to know how much living space you want and what you're going to do with your bus. So, a couple things to consider. Where are you going to go with your bus? Because if you're going to do a lot of national parks and a lot of just sightseeing and traveling for like leisure and seeing America or wherever you are, at least in America, there's some restrictions to the size of vehicles that you can bring into national parks. So you want to make sure, if you're going to be doing a lot of that, that you don't have a bus. Like, I think once you hit 35 or 37 feet and above, it's much more difficult to get a spot in a national park. So, and there are some national parks, even some roads through, I think, Glacier, where you can't take a vehicle that's longer than a certain amount of length. It's really not that long either. It might be 25. You can't even go down one of the most beautiful roads in Glacier. So do some investigating with that, depending on what you want to do with your bus, where you want to go, I guess. Secondly, you want to think about your lifestyle. How much space do you need? So these are some things that I've heard people overlook. So, you know what? And I'll make a video about my floor plan because I think I came up with a really great one. And so watch for that video. But what I did is I took a Google sheet because I'm a Google addict, and I just put about seven, every square across was 6 inches. So I did, enough for 7.5 feet across for the width of the bus. And then I was estimating, I think at first I was playing around with 25 feet of living space. And when I talk about living space, I mean from behind the bus seat, the driver's bus, to the very back of the bus. Like, I was kind of looking for 25 feet that I could build out as living space. So then I took the vertical side, or the left side of my Google sheet, and every square was another 6 inches. So I did enough to get 25 feet. Now, what you need to keep in mind is that every wall you build is going to take up some space. It'll depend on how you build it. If you're going to have walls, I have 3 walls that'll be going back along my bus. And each one, you're going to need some 2x4s and some wall material in there. Probably not your typical house building. Why can't I think of what that's called? Drywall. But maybe you'll use some, maybe not tongue and groove. You could use tongue and groove or, beadboard or whatever you're going to use. It's going to take up some space. So you want to keep that in mind. If you're going to have 2 walls, you probably want to maybe set aside 12 inches to be safe. So therefore, you don't have 25 inches of living space for this example. You have 25 feet. You have 24 feet of living space. So you want to think about, what all do you want? Do you want a shower. I know some people don't have a shower in their skoolie. Some people actually take the kitchen faucet head and put it through the window and they just stand outside to shower off. So I really wanted a shower. Doesn't have to be a big shower, but well, I haven't built mine yet, but I really want a shower. So it's in my plan. So you want to think about those things. Like, what are the things that you want? Do you want a full kitchen? Do you want more of a regular RV refrigerator, or do you want one of the smaller coolers? Some people use the special kind of cooler. Um, do you need a freezer or not? Do you want a cooktop or do you want a whole stove and oven? Like, you really want to think about your lifestyle. And then, if you don't use a Google Doc, you could even just take some graph paper and start graphing in how big these things are. And that just takes research. Like, I really wanted a stove and an oven because I'm going to be living in it for 9 months to begin with. And so I found one and it was about 24 inches, like a cube. So I could set aside, 2 feet, a square, 2 feet square for my stove and oven. But you also need to keep in mind that depending on what all you're going to do, you're going to need water tanks, at least fresh and gray water. So fresh water, in case you don't know, that's your clean water, what you're going to shower with and use for dishes and drinking water and all of that, cooking. Gray water is the dirty water from that. So after you take a shower, that's the gray water tank. So that's all the dirty water that you're going to have to dump out. Or have drained out regularly. And then the dirty water is your waste, your natural waste. So you don't need that. The gray or the dark water. I forgot what it's called. Black water tank. Good Lord, whatever. You'll know what I mean. You won't need that if you choose a compostable toilet, which is what I'm leaning toward. But if you want a regular RV toilet to go in, then you'll need that black water tank. I don't know why I can't remember what it is right now. That's so funny. Okay, you're going to have to store those things. So then you want to think about, how much, water is your typical shower? How often do you want to fill your water tanks and how big are those? So like the one I'm looking at is about 40. I'm looking at one for my build that's about 47 inches tall and I think 30 wide and 18 deep. It's a bigger water tank because I really do like just rinsing off before bed. And so it's a little luxury that I might not let go of, but I have a perfect place in it, in my bus, in my build for it that will be easily accessible and easy to refill. I just don't want to be refilling it every week. So I might be going a little bit bigger with my freshwater tank. So you need to consider that. Do you want to go off grid? Do you want a boondock? Though then you're going to need solar panels on the roof, and you're going to need an inverter and extra or different batteries. And I'm still learning about that, so probably other things that I don't know of. So you want to think of all those details. So you might think, I'm good with 20 feet. But once you start building walls and making sure you've got places to store everything, like the necessities, especially clothing, food, kitchen stuff, water tanks, do you want to shower, all those things, start drawing that out on like something that's actually to scale and see if you have enough space. And then also consider where you want to go. So once you have that in mind, then you want to decide, do you want a flat front bus or a dog nose bus? So I think they're pretty self-explanatory. Flat nose are the straight flat in the front, and the dog nose goes, has the front thing. So few things to know. Dog nose are typically easier to drive because they have the tires in front of you. So it just turns a little bit easier. And I will tell you, when I took off with my bus just a couple weeks ago to bring it home, it's like a 7-hour drive. I was like 10 and 2 death grip. And it was really intimidating for the first bit. But I got a dog nose and it was really pretty easy to get used to. But I have heard they're easier to drive. If you get a flat nose, then you need to choose, do you want the engine in the front or the engine in the back? So dog nose, obviously the dog nose holds the engine. But in a flat nose, it's either in the front or it's in the back. So if it's in the back, it's going to be pretty quiet, actually probably the quietest bus, even compared to dog nose. But you're not going to have any exit door in the very back. The whole engine takes up the whole back. It's kind of like this funky thing in the back. You'll have windows in the very back, but you'll have this big engine. Now, some people like build out over that and have a bed and things like that. It's totally workable. Otherwise, you're going to have an engine right up where you're driving. So if you're driving here in a flat nose bus, the engine is right next to you on the ground. It's kind of like this lump of, I don't know, maybe a foot high, maybe even just a little less than that. But what I've heard is that it is very loud, and it kind of makes sense because it's right next to you, and it can get very, very hot. So if you're a hot person by nature or don't like that, or if the noise is going to drive you crazy, which I figured it would, and probably because I'll be doing all my driving unless I can teach my dog to drive. Lola, Lola. She can't, I can't even wake her up. She's not going to learn to drive. I just know it. She just does not do enough to earn her keep. I love that dog. So you want to consider that. Now I have seen some people that build around the engine there. They like build another like a doghouse. That's what I've heard them called. So it's like a doghouse cage over the engine, and then they build another doghouse to go over it, and they stuff that with like insulation and all that extra stuff. But then I have heard, and I guess I'm leaning toward what I heard, that that might not be really safe. Is it possibly just a fire hazard or something? So I don't know. I just went with the dog nose because it drives more easily. And I didn't want to, I really wanted the back door, the back entrance for my house, for my schoolie, the back emergency exit. And so I didn't want the engine back there, and I didn't want the engine next to me. So consider those things. So the last things I'm going to switch over to my screen. I'm going to screen share and show you this document on the things that you need to consider when you're buying a bus, except for I'm going to share one more thing. So I live in Michigan, and we get a lot more rust up here because of the snow and all the salt that we put on our roads to keep us from, spinning out all winter on the ice. So you don't want a lot of rust. I'm really grateful that I do not have a lot of rust issues. I am going to have to do some welding. I'm actually going to learn to weld. Super excited about that. Around the wheel wells, because, in the wheel wells, it's kicking up rain and snow or whatever, and you're more likely to have some rusting there. So once I was pulling up the rubber flooring, and then I'm doing the subflooring. I'm pulling that all up right now and getting just to the metal. I don't have much rust. There's just some around the wheel wells, but totally workable. It's not bad at all. But I've seen some people where the whole floor of their bus is full of rust, and you're already going to have holes to deal with, because once you take the bus seats out, there's going to leave all these little holes. So you don't want to deal with a lot of rust, not to mention the whole undercarriage of the bus. That's the foundation for your home. So if it's all full of rust, it's not good. So I'm going to move over to screen share so I can show you the document that I think will be really helpful for you. And then I will also show you how you can download it if you want to use it. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here's a spreadsheet. I'm going to explain it all to you in just a moment. But let's say you're going on Craigslist, and I just found a sample. This isn't even on the sheet. I'm just finding a sample. So this one obviously was sold anyway, but it's in Stockbridge. I don't even know where that is. I think, near Atlanta. So if you're like, this kind of looks like what I want. Oh, I just remembered a really great thing I forgot to share with you earlier. This is a little trick. I don't know how valid this is, but I should go check on Thea the bus. If I think of that, I will. So you count the windows: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The windows from behind the driver. So that's, the drivers. So there's 12 windows, and then you multiply by 38, and that should give you an idea of how much living space you have. So I'm doing that right now, and I'm using my calculator. Oh, that can't be right. Oh yeah, 12 times 38 equals divided. Yeah, so it'd be 38. Duh. Oh my God. There shows you my mathematical abilities. So it'd be about 38 feet. Boy, that sounds like an awful lot. Is it 28? It's 28. Oh my gosh. 12 times 28. And then obviously, so it'd be 28 feet because it's 12, and then I'm dividing by 12. Again, I just did the same brain thing. So this bus probably has about 28 feet of living space. So 28 feet behind the driver's seat. And in fact, that makes sense because Thea has 12 windows, and I have 28 feet and 5 inches. So a little trick for you. So let's say this interests you. Some people, like this person, no offense, they don't give you a ton of information. This is actually better. I looked at some and they were like, bus for sale. I'm like, really? That's it? Oh my God. Like, do I even want to call you? So you can take some of this information, like the year, the make, it's 72 person, good running condition, good tires. Of course, you would want to see those tires. Um, a V8 diesel, automatic transmission. You need more information than just that, though. Air brakes, 162,000 miles. That's actually really good. Anything under 200 is great. But the photos here definitely leave some to be desired. So there are some other questions you're going to want to ask. So going here, I just thought of something I'm going to add to this list. I'm going to do it right now because I don't want to forget. Ceiling. I'm going to put it right here. So something I'm glad I asked about is it rivets or screws? Screws are so much better than rivets. Rivets need to be, yeah, they're a nightmare to get out. So I did ask my guy, is the ceiling put in with rivets or screws? He says screws. I'm like, sweet. So that definitely helped. So I'll go over this yellow part in just a minute. But here are two examples. This is the information that you're going to want to gather if you find a bus that you're interested in. And you might think, you'll just find one right away. It was, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but it was pretty tricky. It took me a while, but I did really want to invest in something that I was really going to feel confident about. So here's just the contact information, either someone's phone number or their name, like Joe at joesauto.com. So if you want to email them. So I just did two examples here in row 10 and 11. So let's just look at 10 here. So first of all, if it has a bus number, just to help you reference it, you could put the bus number and then the bus year. And this is just fake data. But let's say the make is International, the body is Bluebird, and you found it. It's in Louisville, Kentucky, and it has just under 2,500 or 250,000 miles. It has an engine of a T444E, or I don't know if it's a T in the beginning of that one. Sorry. This is the one. This is the best one, as I was told, the 466. But this one has a T444E. It has the transmission. Oh, what was MT? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting, because you want an Allison transmission. I'll get to that in a minute. Maybe you don't know the series. The brakes are hydraulic. What I did was I asked for, if they didn't share a photo of the tires, I asked them to take some photographs. And if anyone's being really difficult with you, then it's not the right bus, because they should be willing to, if you're looking to invest a few $1,000s at least, they should be willing to provide you with photographs and stuff. So whenever I saw the tires, I kind of gave them a ranking of 1 if I thought they were in really good shape, or 2 or 3 if they were pretty poor. So maybe I ranked these as a medium. There's 64 people in it. It does not have a handicap lift. It does not have air conditioning. Most don't, but you'll be lucky if you find that. How is the heat? So you want to ask, like, how's the heat in the bus? Is it working? And then obviously the price. And here's a space for the VIN number, which you don't need unless you want to investigate it. If you have a way to, learn more about, has it been an accident or whatever, but you're probably not going to need to do that for a bus. But if you are seriously considering it, if you're like, I think I'm going to make an offer to Elizabeth on this bus, then you might want to, call up your insurance agent and just kind of see what the insurance is going to run. And for me, I found the easiest to work with was Allstate, but I know some people have had good luck with Good Sam, Progressive, and State Farm. So you can check around. Is the title included? Yes or no? What type of title? So this is conventional or like a motor home. This is, I can't remember what GVWR means, but it's the weight, I believe, of the bus. I didn't really think that was super important. But it's on the sheet anyway. And then how high is the ceiling? Is the ceiling put in with rivets or screws? Again, you want screws. We're just going to put screws here because that's so much better. We'll put rivets here to remind you. I'm just going to make that one. Oops, come on. Bold. And then bumper to bumper, maybe it's 35 feet, and the interior length behind the driver to the back door is 27 feet. Do I have inches? I think I used inches there. Good Lord. Um, and then here are links to any images. So like if you were interested in this one, if this was Elizabeth's bus, for example, you just want to copy that whole um, link to it, and then you can just put it in there. And then you're not searching for it, because I also did that at first. I'm like, where was that bus? Where did I find that bus? So that's kind of a pain. I'm going to take that off so I don't confuse anybody. And then the last column are just any notes, whatever helpful information you get from reading about the bus or from speaking with the person selling it. So same thing with here. The Joe from Joe's Auto. Again, this is just pretend. Maybe they didn't indicate what the body is. It's in Atlanta. This is a really good mileage. They say anything under 200 is a really great mileage. This is the best 4.6 mm-hmm, 6.6 is what I learned is the best engine. And then the Allison transmission, AT, at 2000 or higher is the best transmission. Allison has another one that's like, oh, I can't remember what it was. Anyway, it was not 2000 or above, and that has had so many problems. And you don't want to buy your bus and be converting it and find out that sometimes there's a certain kind of engine. I think it's the V365 or something, and you have to sink like $2,500 in it, or you're going to run into issues. So just really, this is so important. So what I was told was these were the two best engines. So I was only looking for those engines, and I was only looking for Allison transmission 2000 or above. It also has to do with just how fast it's going to go. So, I mean, you don't want to be going 70 some miles per hour. You're going to waste your gas like crazy, but it's nice to at least get 60, 65. Again, the brakes, condition of the tires. So this one has really good condition. It's a bit bigger. The heat's good. It's a little more expensive. Oh, it does have AC. And then again, if you get the VIN number, if you're going to check into anything, it's title. It's the type of title is a motorhome. Maybe they didn't express or share how much the weight is, if that's what GVWR means. I think it does. The ceiling height, typically it's 74 inches. It's riveted though, which is yucky. And then bumper to bumper is 37 feet, and interior length behind the driver's wheel to the back of the bus is 28 and a half about feet. And then any links to images and just any notes like, hey, Joe said blah, blah, blah. So if you don't use Google Sheets, I'm going to share with you how you can use this sheet, because you won't be able to use this unless you make your own copy. So first of all, you're going to go up here to where it says File, and you're going to make a copy. This is, if you don't use Google Sheets, I highly recommend it, but you're just going to make a copy, and then you can rename it right here, and you could just put in your name, like maybe your name is Elizabeth Joe. I'm going to be very creative and use what was down there. And then you'll just say, okay, and it will make a copy that's only for you. Because this copy, when you watch this video, I will have made this so you cannot alter it or modify it. You can't change it, because if everyone starts using this, it's going to be really crazy. So you'll have to make your own copy. But here's what's nice about it in my, oh, there. And I forgot I have this all right here. So go to File in this orange-ish yellow school bus color. Pretty tricky, huh? Pretty snazzy. You just have to go to File and choose to make a copy, and then rename it like with your name or something. And then you have your own copy. You can make notes. And then, yeah, I just kind of tell you what to do about that. But what I was going to show you is, let's say you're really interested in this one. You can highlight the whole row by tapping on the row. Sorry if this is elementary for some of you, but I just want to make sure I show you how easy this is. So you just tap on the whole row, and then if you want to, if that's one that you really are interested in, what you could do is you could say green, like this one's really looking good. Maybe the one that's in row 13, let's just pretend like it's filled. Maybe that one you're like, maybe it's not bad, and then you could highlight it yellow, and you can guess, what am I going to do with the next one? Let's say the one in row 615 really is bad, and you're like, no, do not want that. Because if you're like keeping sticky notes all over and things, you're going to drive yourself crazy, because you just want one place to keep all this information. So if you don't use Google Docs, you can do this. You can still go to File, download a PDF. So you can just print it then and write all this information in. You can also print it in Excel. I don't know what ODS is for these. Well, CVS I do. You don't need that. But so you could print it that way. You could just take this idea, this concept, and make your own sheet. I just think this is way easier. Um, yeah, so I think that's all I was going to share with you for that. I'm going to go back to video, and I think there was just one more thing I was going to say, but I hope this sheet really helps you. I wish someone had given this to me because it would have made my search a lot easier. So I'll be right. All right. I hope that was really helpful. Like I said, I wish I had had that kind of a document and all that advice. At least I think it would have been really helpful. Let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. Make sure you hit subscribe. These are the upcoming videos after this. I'm going to share another Google Doc that has helped me so much to keep track of not only how and what I want to do to convert my bus. I'm not really talking about decorations yet, but I do have something for that, like, what kind of walls and kitchen and everything you want, but the basic structure and things. So I'm going to share with you how I kept track of that because, like I said, my first video, my suggestion is that you're watching a lot of schoolie videos and just getting ideas of what you want, what you don't want, and those kind of things. It's really helpful. But if you're going to be watching those videos, you might as well make them work for you. So I'm going to share that next. Then I'm going to share a video about how I removed all my bus seats in one day. And then some other ones, like I mentioned earlier in this one, I'll share how I did my floor plan because it took quite a few tries, but I'm really happy with what I came up with. And you know what? As I go on and do more and more in Thea the Bus, I'm going to be making videos to help you out because I am so grateful for all the videos that I've watched from all the people who are ahead of me. It's been incredibly helpful. So hit subscribe, link down there. Um, and I look forward to being back with you again. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you later.